טוב, שלום לכולם, זה אהוד ממולטיפק, תודה שהצטרפתם. מקווה שהכל טוב איתכם, שאתם מרגישים טוב, שהמשפחות שלכם בטוב, שהקרובים שלכם מרגישים טוב, זה הכי חשוב. אנחנו היום יהיה סמינר בהנחייתו של פיטר ברגשטיין, מברגשטיין דיגיטל, הוא יארך שעה. לשאלות, מי שצריך שאלות תוך כדי, פשוט שיכתוב בצ'אט, ואנחנו נשאל תוך כדי איך שיתאפשר. זהו, שיהיה בהצלחה, ואנחנו פה לכל שאלה. Peter, you can start introducing yourself and...
Good morning. My name is Peter Bergstein from the company Bergstein Digital BV. We are situated in Holland. It's just a small country in Europe. And I have a presentation for single pass printing in a digital way. It's brand new. Everybody knows pad printing, screen printing, offset printing, but single pass digital printing for the industrial market is not very familiar. And that's why we made this presentation. I hope you get some more answers to some questions. If you still have some questions, please don't hesitate and ask them at the end of the presentation. I think that's fair and that's easy to do. And I would say sit down, relax, and enjoy this presentation. Okay, we're talking about industrial digital printing solutions. So it's not the sign industry where you print on foils, on papers, on carton, but this is directly to shaped products, 3D products.
At Bergstein, we design and develop the latest in high-tech industrial printing solutions. With our modular range of Dg5 and Dg7 printers and our standalone single print modules, we can provide you with huge amounts of prints per hour, ramping up your production capacity. 50 years ago, we started in the industrial printing business, and from there on developed a future-proof digital printing solution. With our team of skilled technicians, we develop, produce, and deliver a custom-made solution catering your needs. We combine the latest printing techniques in a modular printing solution, adjusted to your specific product and integrated in your production line. At Bergstein, we don't sell printers, we sell solutions.
Okay, that was just a small introduction video to show, in a small video just to show the capability of Bergstein. First of all, I would like to give you some small information, some general information about the Bergstein Group. So we have more than 50 years experience in the industrial printing market. We started with the pad printing, with screen printing, and nowadays we have digital printing. Pad printing, we do this more than 50 years. We make equipment, we do servicing, we have everything for supplies in stock. The same with screen printing, and the last 10 years we focused ourselves on digital printing. For the digital printing, we sell complete solutions to customers. We don't sell printers, we sell solutions. Is that what you hear on the video? So we sell automation, standalone machines, and specials, actually whatever the customer needs. More than 10 years ago, we started with the digital printing in the industrial market. The beginning, it was solvent-based inks. Nowadays, we're working a lot with UV-based ink, and also we're working with LED curing inks, which will be the future. Selling a complete printing packaging to customer. That means that we not only sell the printing machine, but also the supplies. We do special training for customers, and we have a special service team. We do a lot on remote, but also visiting customer if there's a need. What's the value actually for a customer if somebody is interested or wants to decide for a digital solution? Now, there are some advantages why you should take digital to other print methods. The first one is printing on demand. Nowadays, a lot of people just would like to print the order that comes in and don't want to have anything on stock anymore. With digital printing, you only print what is needed per day, per hour, or per order. Another one, which is a very interesting one, is we can personalize all the products. That means that we can run 10,000 products per hour, and all of these will have a different print. And that's actually the only digital and laser engraving can do this. Other techniques are not able to personalize products in such a small amount of products. Another advantage is the limited setup times. If you compare this with the traditional printing area, you will see that if you have pad printing, you need to take out the ink cup, you need to take out the cliché, you have to mix the ink, put something new in it. In digital, you only take a new file out of the network and you start printing. So that takes only seconds instead of minutes or hours that you have to change the setup of the machine. There are less costs for supplies because the only thing that we consume is an ink. We don't consume screens, squeegees, clichés, pads, or whatever, only ink. So the cost advantages of digital printing, and one of them is contactless printing. Contactless printing means if you compare it to pad printing and screen printing, you now do not touch a product. And in the medical industry, it's very interesting because you only spray dots directly on the product and without touching it. So it's a very interesting advantage to other possibilities of printing. Let me see. So the next one is high production speed. The high production speed is actually in single pass. If you compare it to pad printing or screen printing, we can print high volumes in high speed. I give you an example. One of our customer prints for Disney, and they went from pad printing 900 parts per hour to single pass digital printing 10,000 parts per hour, which is a lot more, a lot. So the next one is that we have different print settings. Everything you want to print will be settled by a profile, which means that I can choose the quality of the print. And there's no other way in any other industrial printing area that you can change your settings of printing. And the last one is actually we can place our units in line and outside an automation. What's our approach? How do we get connected with the customer, and how do we start a project of digital printing? Digital printing for us has got a couple of steps, which are 6 steps to go ahead to find a solution for a customer. The first step is actually a quick scan. What we ask our customer is to send us some parts, and we will print the parts for them. We give them a video and we show them the quality of digital printing without any cost. The second phase is in the project is we look at if the customer is still satisfied after receiving his products, we would like to receive all the requirements of the customer, which means adhesion requirements, which means speed requirements, which means color design requirements. All the specifications needs to be tested in this second phase. The third phase will be, we do all the research and development to come up with a solution. If you ask me, what is the cost of a single pass digital printer? I cannot give you this. Why? Because I do not know, do you need pre-treatment? Do you need a jettable primer? Do you need white? Do you need the colors? Do you need a clear coat or whatever? You know, we first have to check what is needed before we continue. After we have done all this research and development, we come up with the validation. And the validation means that actually we put all the pieces together like in a puzzle, and we come up with an exclusive solution for a customer. Then we have to check also about industrialization, which means, do you want to have a standalone machine, or do you need a loading system or an unloading system? What else do you need to have been placed besides the machine inside an automation? And finally, we will come up to an offer. And after the offer, of course, there will be an implementation of the machine at the facility of the customer. What kind of solutions can we sell to a customer for single pass digital printing? We have the single pass printers, we call it our Dg line, and we have three types of Dg printers. The first one is the Dg5. A Dg5 is a fast single pass printer with only one carrier. Here you can see it on the picture. You see on the right side, you see a carrier that will goes on to the left side inside the printer, and it will be pre-treated, printed, cured, and when it is ready, it will come back to its first starting position to have it taken out. So this printer is industrial built, a very solid frame with everything involved. It has a modular built design, which means all the parts inside the printer can be chosen. And that choice has made after we have done all these test prints. Then we know what is needed, what kind of heads, what kind of curing, what kind of pre-treatment, and everything inside the machine is modular built. So we have a slide system with one carrier, and on that carrier we have one jig which moves from the right to the left and back to the right. Height adjustable to 25 centimeters. That means that we can run products up to 25 centimeters height in this printer, from small parts up to bigger parts. We don't care. We have a maximum print width of 210. That means that the print size maximum will be 210 millimeters. We start with 70, then we go to 140, or we go to 210. Then we have an industrial control panel inside the printer, which means that we can run the complete machine on remote as well as local. What does it mean? We have machines everywhere around the world, and we don't want to spend a lot of time in traveling towards the customer, so we can check the whole machine on the remote. And most of the problems, if there are any problems, we can solve it together with a technician on the spot, which is very interesting for a customer, so you don't have all these expenses in having people coming over. We can run this machine for 25 meters per minute. So in single pass, every product will run with a speed of 25 meters per minute or lower. As I mentioned, everything is modular built, so the pre-treatment is modular built. We can choose if it should be flame, plasma, corona, or another pre-treatment. We can put it in as a modular unit inside this printer. Then we have also modular ink systems, because we don't know at the beginning, do you need white? Do you need a clear coat? Do you need CMYK? Do you need a specific color that we have to mix? All can be modular, placed inside this printer. Then we have a curing system is also modular, because we don't know if it's a LED curing ink, a UV curing ink, or maybe a solvent-based curing ink, which we actually don't need anymore, but all can be integrated in this machine. And it's manufactured by ourselves. So that does not mean that we buy a machine in from China and we just sell it with our brand. No, everything is developed and clarified by us. The only thing that are not designed by us of course, are the print heads, because that's no way we can do this. So then after the Dg5, you have a Dg7 series. And the difference between that one is that the printer is the same, but now you see a conveyor belt that runs in the machine, comes out of the machine, and goes behind the machine back. So we use carriers that transport the parts from one side to the other side. So the features are all the same, only now we have multiple carriers on a belt with multiple jigs. What's the advantage towards a Dg5? The advantage is that I have more carriers, so I have more jigs, so my speed is a lot higher than the other one. And I can load and unload on certain positions during the time that another carrier is already being printed through the machine. So the rest, the height, the speed and everything, which is the same because the printer actually is the same, only the complete belt system, including the inside of the belt system, is different. So the third DG line version is actually the Dg9. And here you see even a higher speed belt system. You see the printer is still the same, but the transport system in and outside the printer is even a very fast belt, which goes through the machine on top. Then all the jigs will turn and in a loop will come back to its first position. So the rest inside the printer is all the same, as you can see, but it's very good to see now a video where I can explain to you one of the machines that we have installed in Dubai to Procter & Gamble. Here you see every 12 seconds, 16 parts come out of the molding machine. We take these parts at our layout and we place them on jigs. And you see the jigs up and running inside the machine. So during the time it's loaded already, jigs with carriers are running through the machine. After printing, we have a vision system that checks the quality of the print. And we have an unloading system that picks up the parts and places them onto each other by 8. This is what the customer wants. So if there's something wrong, takes them out and puts them on stock. So here it was a fast video, but it shows you how a complete automation directly after a molding machine can be used for digital printing. Besides the Dg series, we also have the SPM line series. The SPM line series actually is a totally different one, where we actually have a combination of a digital printing solution with a robot. So we're using actually the robot, for example, from out of a molding machine as a kind of jig where the robot actually places the parts underneath the printing area. All this information is so far interested, but the video I think will show you exactly what I mean by the combination of a robot and a digital printing solution. So all the specifications, what we can have is the same. Here you see one of the customer is, this is a Dutch customer who's got 4 lines right now. And actually what he does is following. He takes the part out of the molding machine, as you can see, places them underneath the printhead during production. In the meantime, the molding machine is producing the next parts, and after printing, the robot lays down the parts to a conveyor belt. This is for the medical industry, and here you got contactless printing, so nothing is touched anymore, and the printer produces 24 hours per day. And as you know, the robot never goes to sleep, never goes to the toilet or at any lunchtime. So the production is 24/7 at this customer. And as long as the molding machine is running, that long also the robot and the printer will do its job. Where are our customers right now? So we have customers in US, we have customers in China, We have a customer in Sweden. We have a customer in Dubai. We have customers in England, and they all have different parts to print on. In US, it's Disney. In Sweden, it's saw blades. In China, it's plastic parts. At Precision, it's Procter & Gamble parts. At Philips, they have razor blades. So it's totally different. You see now we have several machines worldwide outstanding, and we're just growing at this area because this is brand new. Here are some examples to show you which we have printed. Here you see, for example, the saw blades we completely print in Sweden. We have brake pads. We have BAT, electronic cigarettes. We have a customer in Poland for pill covers, and we have washing cups. But there are a lot of more parts to show. But now you see also all kinds of different types. You see different materials, you see different shapes, but all can be handled in the same Dg series of machines. What are the specialties? Actually, I would like to share some technical information about the Dg printers. First of all, we think we have a very accurate conveyor belt, what nobody else has, where we have carriers, including encoder systems, actually to have a very precise printing. You need that printing because the machine is very long and the colors will be printed after each other. So what we need is to have a very accurate conveyor belt system to have all the colors lined up 100%. So besides that conveyor belt, we use at this moment the very robust XR printheads with the software. A XR printhead is a printhead made in England, and we use that head because it allows us to use a lot of more aggressive inks for a good adhesion on products. There is a lot of more printheads, and we're working also closely together with Ricoh, but at this moment, XR for us it's the way to go. Besides a good printhead, there's a need of a good mist absorption system. And I think we're the only guys who created this. We developed this ourselves. And what's mist absorption? You have, besides the thick drops which you place on your product, you also have mist, very small particles, which also will come towards the machine or towards the product, and you don't want to have that. We developed ourselves a mist absorption system where we suck this very small mist drops into an area that it does not come and lay down on products or on the machine itself. So we suck that very small mist particles away from the area. What else do we have as a special, which is very interesting to know, that we make our own LED lamps, not because we are so good, but because we would like to have specific ones which fit in our needs to get the best solution and the best adhesion for a customer. We find out that you can buy them, but they're pretty expensive. Now we can make them ourselves, which reduce the cost price immensely. So regarding besides the conveyor belt system, we also have encoders on each and every carrier to get this very accurate printing. We have a complete exhaust system inside the printer that allows us that you will have any fumes or air or smell inside the printer. Of course, you will have some, but it will be very less. It will be very less. If you open the doors, you won't smell the UV ink or the LED ink anymore because we exhaust it with our own exhaust system outside of the printer. There's a filter on top of the machine that filters the ink before we blow it away. Then we have of course, our special software, which we make, and we're very proud on that one because that is needed to get the best quality. And that there's a lot of developing in software going on and still moving on to get a best print result. What are other specialties? Just some technical information. We have also a special software for easy print handling. That means that we have our own job manager where you can load easily files, where you can copy paste files easily. So you don't need an external software to use it. As I already mentioned before, we have an external remote control for optimal service and communication with our customers, to have direct lines and to solve problems very fast. At this moment, we are also working on these video glasses. So you put on a glass and you have a video camera inside, so we can look with the technician as he puts his finger where the problem is. And with the software, we easily can help them on at remote to solve his problem. What we also thought about is, and what took us a while, is that we have built everything that we also are prepared for future developments and changes. What does it mean? For example, at this moment, we have a head XAR that we're using, but let's say in 3 years, new heads will come. And what we can do, take the module out, put a new module with a new head in and run, because the machine is built for at least 10, 15 years. But the development in digital moves very fast. And now you are able not to throw away the machine, but reuse the machine with the latest and newest developments. So we have 3D codes on several spare parts for an easy backup, how to implement these parts. So if you look, for example, on a filter, we have a 3D code. If you scan the code, you will see a small movie on your mobile phone, and then you can see how you need to implement these parts inside the machine. So we would like to make it very easy for a customer, let's say an employee or an operator on the machine, that he clicks on the barcode and he already knows what to do. That's one of the features that we that we easily know how to service our customers. What are the extra advantages for a customer? So easy change of print files can be done in seconds. As I mentioned before, so we don't have any more waste of setup times, and that makes a lot of sense. We also can change products by implementing different jigs. So the carrier remains the same, but we only take the jig out of the carrier, put a new jig in, and with a new product, we put a new file in and we already can run. Very small changeover times on that one. We need less people for the complete printing solution. I'll give you an example. One of our customers, we're building right now a machine for a customer that uses now 3 screen printing lines, and on these screen printing lines they have per line 3 people. Now they bought one Dg7 printer and they only need 2 people. So instead of 9 people per shift, they only use 2 people per shift, which is very, very convenient to have a little less people working and to get even a higher speed and an output. Our printer can run small runs as well as big runs. We don't care, because the changeover of the print file is done in seconds. So we don't have any limitations. Sorry. Less extra offline work because we use our primers and pre-treatment inside the automation. Normally what we see a lot is that somebody has to pre-treat somewhere at a station, then move the parts toward the printing area and then start printing. We have everything, all the equipment is only in one printer installed. And the printed products are directly ready for packaging. So after curing, end curing, LED, UV curing, you just take out the parts and you already can pack them. There's no need to wait for them for 24 hours to get all the fumes out. Done. And we only have few maintenance costs on a digi printer per year. Okay, that's of course we can compare it with pad printing and screen printing. And actually the only maintenance you have is a small daily maintenance in the morning and in the evening. So you have to clean the heads in the morning, you do the printing, and if you leave the company, you clean the heads, you purge them, and you go away. That will take you every day in total about 15 minutes. That's it. So at the end, a digi printer could be a solution for you. And that's it. I would like to answer any of your questions if you have any questions.
Thank you, Peter. One question regarding the environment, the facility environment that the print machine needs.
Yes. So the environment normally is a normal production environment, which means normally it's about 10 degrees Celsius at least, and about 35 maximum. We do not control the inside of the machine, but because we suck away air, we also suck away heat if it's getting very warm. And all the inks are in a closed recirculation system, so we control the temperature of the ink by the printer itself. What you don't want to have is a dusty area. We have installed one machine where they make these brake pads, and it's very filthy. You know, a lot of dust is in that area, in that whole fabric. That's not what you would like to have. But normal conditions where you normally print, as you could see in a movie, directly behind the molding machine, that kind of areas should not be any problem. Does this answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. Regarding automation near the injection machine, can you please explain us what if a customer is interested in the SPM devices machining? Can you explain this in more details, please?
So what you could see very good in this video was that there was a molding machine and a robot already existing, which took out every 12 seconds 16 parts. And we had just a communication between the robot and our system by a handshake, that he will take the parts out, place them on one of our conveyor belts, and then we take over from there. So we would like, we also make an area, let's say if something happens to the molding machine, we have problems, then still you can load by hand. And the other way around, we also prepared, let's say the molding machine would like to continue, but there's a problem with the printer. Then we also took, we also made a solution that the output of the molding machine remains the same, but then he starts stacking the products before printing.
And okay, thank you. If a customer is just wanted to use digital printing in order to replace screen or pen printing, if he wants only one color or two colors ink, not entire image.
Yes.
What is the suggestions there?
Yeah, there are two ways. If let's say if you want a spot color, a specific color like whatever, Coca-Cola red, let's say, then there are two options. One option is of course to have the complete gamma of inks to make this color, or nowadays we also can try, I have to say we can try to make a spot color, we call it. So you only need one ink system, one ink module with that spot color to print only that color. And we also pre-prepare the machine. Let's say a customer wants to start only with one color, but we already prepare the machine for the full color range. So let's say after 2 years, he says, I don't want to have this only one color now. I would like to have all the colors. Then we can just implement the ink system and the heads, and the rest is already prepared in the machine. So no more extra cost in extending a complete frame. No, it's already there.
Thank you. There is a question, an interesting one. If you install the machinery in Israel? No?
Yes.
They ask if BERGSTEIN has a machine in Israel right now.
Oh, sorry. No, we don't have right now. No, not yet.
So can you explain a bit about what is your approach in international customers?
How does it work after a machine is sold? Let's say we've done all these 6 steps and we got an approval of the machine. Then we build this machine. What we do is 1 week after the FAT is the fabric, the approval of the machine at our facility. We would like to invite 2 mechanics and somebody from the pre-press to have a first training here at our facility. Then we have these FAT, these approval at our facility. We will pack the machine, we will ship the machine, we will do the installation, but it takes about 2-3 days normally with 3 people. And the rest of the time, which is approximately the week, we would like to spend with employees to have the machine. We turn it upside down to have a full training that all the people have the understanding of how to work with the printer. So the sales is hard, but the after sales is even much more important to us than the sales itself. Because as you could see, we are in Dubai, China, US. I don't want to have my people spending lots of time in airplanes for moving around. That's how we do this servicing on remote, eventual with the glasses, with the 3D code. We do whatever we can to remote them from out of my company over here.
Thank you. Another question is about the resolution of the printing, minimum and maximum sizes, and also about if they want to change colors, if there needs to change inks, or what is the procedure? Okay,
resolution. A lot of people have some kind of knowledge about resolution. You see that in the multi-pass printers that they talk about 1440 dpi's and 970 dpi's. In single pass, it's totally different. You have only one shot. So you only have one, the part only passes the print head only one time. And then 360 dpi is already very interesting. Now we're working on the 600 dpi, but sometimes it's not needed because we go so fast. The drop has to be thick enough to go from the outside of the head towards the product. If the drop size is too thin, too less weight, then it will never falls onto the product. So it's a total different kind of area to work with. We use a lot 360 dpi. So that's the first thing. The other thing is how to change the ink. You don't change the ink. You have all the colors at your machine. You only change the file. So within a few seconds, you go from green to brown to yellow to red. We don't care. It's changing the file. But if you want to change the ink series, you have to take out all the ink with a flush. You put in a new ink. Let's say if you want to go from glass to polypropylene to plastic, then we have a different ink. But do you really want this? None of my customer is doing this because they bought this machine for printing on plastic, and then we try to find a solution with the same ink to print on glass as well. How do we do this? By using different kinds of extra pre-treatment up front or end curing at the end. So we can remain with the same ink setting. Very important.
Thank you. Another question, does the ink have date limit? How long is the shelf life?
The shelf life of an ink normally is 1 year. That's guaranteed by the ink supplier. We already can see that it's getting more. Some of these inks have 2 years, but you only have to fill up 2.5 liters of ink per color, so nothing more. And during the time you are printing, you can add the ink in the ink box. You don't need to have that much in stock because the usage of the ink is less. A lot of people are thinking that we need a lot of ink, but in single pass we do not need a lot of ink. We need less ink than screen printing or pad printing.
Regarding medical uses, does the ink have medical approval of FDA or other?
Medical, let's say it's the requirements of the customer that gives us the possibility to look for different inks. Give you an example. One of our customers is Tupperware. They would like to have an ink that adheres 125 times in a dishwasher by 85 degrees Celsius. So, and that's a totally different ink than the ink that we use for printing on saw blades, which have totally different requirements. And in the medical industry, we just need to know what kind of requirements are needed. Nowadays, it's very hot. If you see these products which are now used on gloves or on the mouth caps, they are very specific because you don't want to breathe in a UV curing ink. Then it's cancer related, the UV ink. So the restrictions of what ink is needed for what product gives us the opportunity to look for a specific ink for that kind of product.
Okay, thank you. Does the ink comply with the REACH specification? And also regarding outdoor exposure?
Also, these are different types of ink. All inks are related on REACH, that all inks actually are manufactured, or let's say the most of the inks at this moment are manufactured in Europe and in the US. At least the inks we are using. Of course, we are looking for other inks as well, but we got a lot of inquiry of ink suppliers that would like to give us the ink, but there's also another problem because the ink should fit in our modules. The ink should fit in our heads. You cannot just put a kind of specific ink in a head. That means that the head will break down or get clogged. Even in the ink system, we have pumps, we have tubes. If you have a very aggressive ink, the tubes will be eaten by the plastic. We have seen so many stupid things. So first of all, we need to have the right ink that is tested and that is known that it works in our system. And then you go from there.
Okay, thank you. About the cleaning cycle inside running job, does it occur?
Sorry, again?
About cleaning cycle during a running job.
Actually, the more in the single pass, it's like the more the machine is in continuous mode, the less cleaning there is needed. What we recommend is, as I mentioned before, it's in the morning and it's in the evening. And maybe, let's say after a lunchtime, but if there's a short break, you don't need to clean the machine at all. Because we have a recirculation system, so the ink will remain transporting through the ink system, through the print head, back to the ink system. So that means that the print head on the downside, on the bottom, the ink will not be dried in the heads because we have a recirculation of the ink. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. About printing it, if it's damaged, is there a flash situation in the machine to fill the new edge with ink before starting to work?
Can you explain this question? I could not get it.
Okay. Another question. What is the procedure for replacing delivery time for spare critical parts?
Okay. So first of all, if somebody buys a machine, that he's got a first kit with spare parts that we think it's needed. And these are the most critical parts. That's actually the only thing there are is a print head and an ink system and maybe one of two sensors. So the next step is, let's say something breaks down. We have a lot of spare parts here in stock. So that means that if you call today, we can ship it out today or at the end tomorrow. And of course, we have less critical parts. Even some parts, we give the customer the information so they can buy it. In Israel, for example, if you have a Honeywell sensor, there's no need to have it shipped from Holland if you can buy it over there. It's not our business case to make the money out of the spare parts. So a lot of parts which are on the machine are regular parts like Festo equipment, like sensors from formal good suppliers, which also can be bought in Israel or somewhere else in the world.
Thank you. Regarding printing on top of caps, like Coca-Cola caps.
Yes.
Can you explain a bit about the machine and the solution?
Yes, we have one machine in Sarasota at Berry Plastics that prints on caps, not Coca-Cola caps, but on Monster and another one.
Maybe Gatorade?
You need to have a good pre-treatment because it's normally it's regenerated plastics that they are using. And you have to be aware that the ink is low migration. That means that the ink should not go through the plastic into the fluid, which is in a bottle. So these are the major points. So the only thing we can do is testing it. We don't have a clear solution because each and every cap manufacturing has got his own plastic. So we would like to receive some products, we do some testing, we send it back to the customer, we try to fill their needs regarding their requirements, and then we go from there. Are there people who are printing on caps? Yes. Are there solutions? Yes, but every cap could be different.
Okay, thank you. Regarding outdoor climate, like a toolbox that needs to be in the sun.
Yes.
How long does the ink?
If you would like to have a resistance against outdoors, then the recommendation is to put a clear coat on top of the colors. So, and we can jet it, so it does not mean that you have to put the clear coat on the complete part. No, you only put the clear coat by jetting, by using a print head, only where you have the ink as well. And then you increase the file a little bit, so the ink will melt over on top of the printed area. That normally will do the job. But there is no supplier that gives me a guarantee of, for example, 5 years. Nobody does it right now. They just say, I don't know, it's UV resistant. Yes, it is. But for how many years? We don't know. but it's there.
Do you use in your machine a Corona pre-treatment?
We can use whatever the customer like. We have at our facility, we have the choice of Corona, and Corona you have high frequency and low frequency. Then you have the plasma, then we have the flame, and we have the flame with the parasil, for example, if you want to print on glass. So all these equipment we have available, and all of these equipment can be implemented in our machineries. It's depending on the product. So that's why we do these tests. Then we come up with a solution like, okay, we would like to suggest Corona pre-treatment, white ink, this and this and this type of ink, LED curing, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. I will speak in Hebrew now. האם למישהו יש עוד שאלות שהוא רוצה לשאול? אפשר בצ'אט או... This is an interesting question. What is the price range of the machine?
Yeah, of course. As I mentioned before, of course, it's depending on how many colors. Do you need pre-treatment, yes or no? But a regular price of a machine with white and CMYK is approximately about a Dg7 with the conveyor belt system, which runs around. It's about 400,000 euros. So then you have double white, you have CMYK, you have LED and UV curing, and you got the complete conveyor belt system with the carriers, to give you an idea.
And one color system, what is the price? Also a question.
One color system, actually I made now a two color system that was about 265, two colors. I never made one color right now.
With the conveyor and with automation?
No, that was the one with the slide, the Dg5.
I see. Okay.
But that customer, for example, he is a good example. He wanted to start with the only two colors, with the white and with the black, but he already would like to have everything prepared for future CMYK and white. So the frame remains the same. We only places a module for black and a module for white in this machine, but it could be extended with the extra CMYK colors in the future circumstances.
Okay. אם למישהו יש עוד שאלות, זה הזמן, אני אחכה עוד חצי דקה. ואחרי זה ניפרד. I gave them, Peter, all the other participants a few moments to ask another question, and then we will say goodbye.
Okay. Yeah, so if there are any questions that you could give them my email address, and I would gladly communicate with them as well. And if somebody wants to have this presentation, I just need the email address, and I will send it by Dropbox or WeTransfer, if that's fine.
I have another question. What is the overall size of machine to print on the polypropylene with pre-treatment? I guess for CMYK.
You mean the measurements, the length?
Yes. Of Dg7.
Dg7, it's normally 7 meters by 2. If you have an extended version, the total length will be 9 meters by 3. That's the complete area outside.
Okay. Okay. טוב, אם אין עוד שאלות נוספות, אני רוצה להודות לכולם. Peter, I think that there is no more questions. if you want to summarize, and we'll say goodbye to everyone.
Oh yeah, I would like to thank everybody, and I hope you get a small first idea of single pass printing. I think especially if you look at the videos, it will give you a good idea. And of course, there are lots of questions, but if you are interested, the only thing I can recommend, talk to Eod, send some parts to us, and we will send you some printed parts with a video back to your facility to get some first idea about really digital printing on your product. I hope you liked it. I hope you got some more information. And I hope to see you soon with maybe a kind of interest in our machinery. Thank you very much.
Thank you. אני אוסיף שאני אשלח את המצגת ואת זה אני אשלח אותם בקרוב, גם את הסיכום של הסמינר. תודה רבה שהצטרפתם, תהיו בריאים ונהיה בקשר עם כולם. Thank you, Peter.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.